Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler video. We're not filming a Friday fishing report this week, but we are doing a fly. And in the studio, I have a guest. Here's Wiley. If you guys don't know who Wiley is, he's our American transplant. And tonight we're going to be tying a game changer pattern. Now, game changer pattern is super popular. We've heard about it in books. We've heard about it from down south. Wiley's from down south, so he's going to walk us through how to do this, and we think this pattern is something that's pretty underutilized in the West Coast area and one that should be in everyone's Bulltrout / streamer box. So what are you going to tie for us tonight?
So it's a feather game changer. It uses hen hackle, Palmer chenille. I could use any like polar chenille, aquavale as well, and then a minnow head.
Let me see the other one.
This will be the color we're tying.
So anyway, we're going to sit back. We're going to let Wiley take over the vise, and I'm going to learn something. Hopefully you all will learn something. And we're also going to come up with a video where Wiley and I talk about the differences between some of the styles that we've seen when it comes to sort of BC steelhead-inspired streamer fishing versus what we're seeing coming out of the States, where his home waters are in Montana, Colorado, or heck in Florida, because they're running some of this stuff for the saltwater guys. So let's get into it.
So tonight we're going to be tying a 3-inch feather game changer. To get it 3 inches, I use 3 shanks that are around 10 millimeters, and then a tail shank, which can be whatever length you want, and then you can cut it short at the end. I'm using a long one so it fits nicer in the vise. I make my own shanks out of Malin hardwire, 180-pound test, with a 1.5 millimeter one-step looper, which you can get at Michael's. First, you put it into the looper and it breaks the end off and creates a nice little loop. And then on the other end, you cut it to around 1 inch, stick it back in, and this time, before you press it all the way through so it doesn't break off, you take it out, put it back in so it's sticking out, and then bend it so you have a return loop that you can use thread to close. So using the little butt section of a spey marabou plume, I'm going to make a short little tail that's probably just over 1 inch long, which is a little long, so I'm going to pick at it. And then I'm just going to put the smallest little hen feather that I could find on my cape, just to cover over the thread wraps there. So you grab the tail section, slide it into the return eye side of the shank, and then you can begin the body. For a prop, I'm using Palmer chenille and pearl. This is a really short shank, probably closer to 6 millimeters than 10, so I'm not going to be able to fit very much of this on. That is probably all I can do. So before I tie the hen on, I'm going to pull all these fibers up and then trim them really, really short. I'm using serrated ones, or not serrated, taperized scissors, just so it looks a little bit more random, but that's definitely not necessary. Now, with the hen cape, the smallest feathers are down here, the biggest feathers are up here. So as you go forward, we're gonna start down here and move slightly up. These are from pretty far down the bottom. This isn't even my tying desk and I already have 3 pairs of scissors sitting under me. So now we're just going to repeat that step a few more times. So the next shank. So pull them all up again to the top of the shank. And then this time we're going to trim them just a little bit longer. And then the hen I'm grabbing is just a little bit bigger. So again, bring all those fibers to the top. And this time I'm going to trim them about 2/3 of the way up. Grab the next biggest hen hackle. Come on. For a hook, I'm using a Nordic tube hook from Partridge. It's just a random hook I picked out from the shop this morning that has a little bit wider gap than the ones I was using. but any short shank, wide gap hook will work. If I was using an owner no escape, I'd be using a size 1, but I'm not. I'm using the Partridge and it's in size 4. So don't go off the hook size, but try to size the hook itself to the pattern you're tying. So to attach the rest of the fly to the hook, you can use braid. I'm using intruder wire right here. You don't need any bead for spacing. You want to get it as close to the butt of the hook, or the bend of the hook as you can. So I'm going to get it right up in there. You don't want to get it so tight that it keeps the shanks from moving. And then you repeat the same step over again. Palmer chenille. This time I'm not even going to trim it. Go up about halfway up the shank with that. Secure it down and then wrap back just a little bit. Make sure it doesn't unravel. Then go with the biggest hen feathers you can find on your shank. If you're tying a fly that's 4 or 5 inches, for this particular stage, I'd just use schlaffen instead of hen, but still use hen for the rest of the fly. And then lastly, we're going to build the head. This head it's really important to make a dense head that pushes a lot of water. So then this swimmy tail will kick out to the side when you stop swimming or stripping. So something like this EP minnow head brush, EP chromatic brush is another good one. Last night I tied some with tarantula brush and they came out pretty nice. Okay, there we go. And comb out that brush so it gets nice and full. And you can spend a few minutes messing with this. And there you go. Got a little game changer.